African Union Day is celebrated every 25th day of May as an occasion to promote the African Union, its activities, and the development of Africa in general across the continent. Now, the theme for this year's celebration was strengthening resilience in nutrition and food security in Africa. So yesterday was African Union Day. That's 25th of May 2022. It's 2 minutes past 5 p.m. Good evening. You're welcome to the Thursday edition of Technocrat on Focus 94.3 FM. We're coming to you live from the East Wing of the Great Hall, KNUST. We are live on Facebook at Focus FM KNUST. Join us. African Union Day, the perspective of the youth. Now I'll be speaking to Prince Enim Apore, who is Pan-African youth activist. So you can join us on Facebook at Focus FM KNUST. Let us hear from you. But first, the President, Akufo-Addo, has directed metropolitan, municipal and district assemblies in the Greater Accra region to demolish all structures that cause flooding in the city. The President says metropolitan, municipal and district chief executives should immediately pull down all structures to reduce the occurrence of flooding in Accra. Speaking at the commission of 2 IHC Beavers 50 dredges and marine equipment of Dredge Master Limited, Akufo-Addo said flooding in Accra must end. He also advised against the disposal of waste in drains, which he says is one of the contributory factors compounding the unfortunate situation. Well, the National Disaster Management Organization, that's NADMO, had already admitted that its inability to demolish illegal structures on waterways is one of the major setbacks to ensuring a more sustainable way of tackling recurrent flooding situations in the country, especially in the capital, Accra. They are therefore seeking the needed empowerment through legal backing to enable it to do so. So if Ghana is bent on bringing an end to its perennial flooding situation, he suggested that the time is ripe for the NADBO to be given the needed powers to pull down structures obstructing the free flow of water, since local authorities have done too little in that respect. Once again, if you just tuned in, this is Technocrat on Focus 94.3 FM. You are live on Facebook at Focus FM KNUST. Join us. African Union Day. That was yesterday, 25th of May 2022. Looking at it from the perspective of the youth. Join us in this discussion. Now, if you want something affordable and tasty to eat, all you have to do, if you're on campus or around campus, all you have to do is walk to Carts and go to Craven's Pizza and Foods. They have affordable and delicious meals. They have something like jollof, fried rice, assorted fried rice and assorted jollof. They also have assorted spaghetti and all types of pizza. So you can just call them on 059 6028 or 050 6771 Now, as I said earlier, I'll be speaking to Prince Enim Apore, who is a Pan-African youth activist. Talking about African Union Day, the perspective of the youth. So, in regards to the celebration yesterday, His Excellency Mr. Abdullahi Shahid, who is the president of the 76th session of the United Nations General Assembly, wrote something. Well, he's saying that I'm delighted to join this African Day celebration. On this day in the 1963, the Organization of African Unity, known as the African Union, was established. As we commemorate this day, we reflect on the accomplishment of people across the African continent and on the challenges they still endure. This year's theme focused on the importance of addressing malnutrition and food insecurity. Is important. Across the continent, Africa faces stark development challenges, including food insecurity and increasing malnutrition. These are amplified by global crises, including COVID-19 and climate change, and they interconnect with ongoing difficulties caused by such issues as changing weather patterns, drought, poor sanitation, and crop-destroying insects, all of which have strong local consequences. Reinforced action to strengthen resilience in nutrition and food security will help overcome the effects of many of these challenges, and it will lay a strong foundation to empower communities. It is up to us to harness the political will to achieve these goals. Also, African has so much potential. It has both the human and technical resources to secure a brighter future for all its inhabitants. African women are an integral part of the solution, especially as glass ceiling are shattered and the gender barriers are broken. They are poised to play a greater role in driving sustainable agricultural practices in development, in achieving the African Union's vision of Agenda 2063. Similarly, African youth, who now number over 400 million, have a crucial role to play in driving innovation and preparing for tomorrow's challenges while taking part in decision making today. Working together with all stakeholders and with effective partnership with the UN agencies, we can transform Africa into an economic powerhouse. We can help the continent achieve all the sustainable development goals, and we can ensure that the needs of all its inhabitants are fully met. On this African Day, let us eradicate ourselves to strengthen partnerships in pursuit of peace and sustainable progress for all Africans. So that was from the 76th session of the United Nations General Assembly. That's Honorable Mr. Abdullahi Shahid. I'll be speaking to my guests very soon, but before that, let's take a listen.
A challenge in Africa, and if we work on it, I believe we can make the AU more effective. I believe indoctrination is a very important step to do that. If the leaders, present day leaders, decide, okay, we want unity, so the best place to start from will be from the younger ones. You know, they start in the schools, they create curriculums that actually put African in the focus and not just maybe their native homeland.
I don't see anything that is happening, or anything special that is happening, because actually in Africa we need more than unity and stuff. We need love. So I do think that if Africa cultivate that kind of love, we can go even to one currency, we can go to even one cloth a day. I don't know, we can go extra, more than what we think. It's all based on love.
Well, to be honest, I'm not very conversant with what they do. What is the AU does? I suppose if it's activity relied on people knowing about it, I would say they are not doing a very good job. I do not know of any medium that exists to interest people in the AU, the youth, the university, about the AU as of now. I don't know. I knew it was a holiday, but I didn't even really know it was AU Day, because it's not something that is carried across today.
I think it's attainable if they do more groundwork into it, and getting the professors here in the economics department and in other universities across ECOWAS to really see how feasible it is. And also, really, because the French African countries use their own CFA franc, realistically they have their own currency, and we need to understand if they're ready to give that up to have more economic independence within an African context.
It will take quite a very long time to achieve something like this, because one, they will take into consideration the currency which is supposed to be used worldwide. Some countries will not agree to it, and there will be a whole lot of problems. And eventually, I'm thinking eventually they'll just let it go.
No, I don't think it's possible. Most countries may not agree to the currency because maybe devalued. Some other countries may just like their own currency like that. For me, I think Nigerian currency is actually okay. Naira is okay.
So that was some of the youth expressing their views about AU Day, seeing the relevance in it. Some people even said they do not know what AU is all about. Join us on Facebook at Focus FM KNUST African Union Day, which was yesterday. The perspective of the youth. Let us hear from you, your views about this discussion. Now, how many of you know so much about our freedom fighters in Africa? You can join us in conversation on Facebook at Focus FM KNUST. Let us hear from you. Do we see a better Africa in the next few years? Do you think the African Union, they are doing their job very well? Do you think they are keeping the unity in Africa? And what about a topic that we all talk about, corruption? Is it getting better all over Africa? Now, as I said earlier, the theme for this year's celebration is strengthening resilience in nutrition and food security in Africa. Do you think we are doing better when it comes to food? I mean, we still import food into the country as far as Ghana is concerned. Now, my guest is Prince Enim Apore, who is a Pan-African youth activist. Good evening, sir. Thanks for joining us on Technocrat.
Yes, good evening, Blessing. Thank you for having me.
Right, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm very well myself. Now we are talking about African Union Day. Earlier on, I played a voice and someone even said he doesn't even know what it is about. My question is it worth celebrating?
All right. So, Blessing, first and foremost, let me say a very good evening to your listeners in Kumasi and those who are listening to us online. Yes, African Union is worth celebrating. Aside all the objections we all would have, it is worth celebrating because that is what makes us who we are as a people. That is what brings us together as a people. Yes, so I would say it is worth celebrating.
Now, comparing it to other world groups like the EU, would you say that AU has been able to champion the cause of the African unity?
Yes, Blessing, you see, change, we all believe that comes with time, and change is not something that we all accept at once. You know, when you look at the European Union, they have come a long way. Africa is still progressing.
Right.
There's a reason why we always say that developing country. You understand? So irrespective of the fact that we always do compare ourselves with the European Union, but AU and the fact that the celebration is something we should recognize, it is. And I know that we will get there. I mean, it sometimes it is mind-boggling and it's a little bit frustrating when you compare in terms of the achievements, but the difference is the timing.
Okay.
The difference is the timing. Yeah.
Now, you said that Africa is still developing. I mean, it's right, but then this year's theme for the celebration was strengthening resilience in nutrition and food security in Africa. Let's come to our part. In Ghana, we still import food into the country. I mean, what do you say about this? Isn't it time, or what are we lacking that at this point we are still not safe, or we are still not okay when it comes to food?
Yes, so I think with regards to the theme for this year, just as you quoted, strengthening resilience in nutrition, I think it was perfect to have been the theme, because particularly when you look at the impact of COVID-19 on the global continent, I must say Africa is fortunate, because if you look at the impact outside there, if we were having the same impact, it would have been difficult. And Ghana in perspective per se, you know, I would say part of our problem has to do with leadership. Leadership, I know the current government is doing its best, but it's not enough, one would say, because we always start planting for food and jobs, but the question is, where is the reality? You understand? So the reality is what we would use to judge. Aside that, I would think that there is still a long way to go, and most of our problems, I would say, is leadership.
Now, talking about leadership, Professor Patrick Lumumba of Kenya said that it's one of the things that's actually killing more people than war. What do you say about this? What would you assess the state of corruption in Africa and in Ghana specifically?
You know, it's interesting you just made reference to Professor Lumumba, because he happens to be a co-chair of a Pan-African youth movement that we are championing. You know, when it comes to the corruption bit of it, Blessing is really, really serious. It's really, really serious, because most of the challenges we are having, you see, corruption can be found in all aspects of the economy.
Right.
And I must say that it starts from our own homes. Yes, it starts from our own homes. So right from the beginning, are we taught about what corruption is all about? When we go to our schools, do we even spend time teaching the impact of corruption? We don't. And so once people start the process right from the basics to the secondary schools, and now politics has even made it worse. You understand?
Right.
So the moment people get into political positions, then it becomes like a ticket to being corrupt. So yes, Patrice Lumumba has said it right, and that is the most of the challenges that we are having is as a result of leadership, and corruption, we can never leave it out. And Africa and Ghana per se now is something, you know, it's like when you wake up every morning, it's either one story or the other. And we are only, it's just that we must stand up and say it's enough. You understand? As a people, or as a young people, or people who believe that the future belongs to us, this is the time for us to speak out. And that is why I'm very happy about this kind of conversations. Because we need to enlighten the people that this is what is killing us. You understand?
I mean, so what's your view about politics in this country? I mean, we are living in a country where we only see two political parties. Would you say it's high time we give a chance for other political parties? Is it time for a change?
Blessing, you see, I wouldn't wish that we delve more into politics, but for the sake of the conversation we are having, I would want to say that it does not really matter the political party in power.
Okay.
If the people are not ready to hold the leaders accountable. You understand?
Yes.
Because it's the people that makes the political party. If I wake up today, I say I'm moving from NPP to join NDC, or I'm moving from NDC to join CPP, I am the same person. You understand? But for us to be able to hold the people we entrust our resources in accountable, we are not going anywhere.
Okay.
And it doesn't matter which political party comes into power.
Okay.
You understand?
Okay. Now, moving on, you are a Pan-African youth activist. Speaking
Yes.
on behalf of the youth, what is your general view of the youth regarding the African continent?
Straightforward, I will say we are not doing enough. The youth, we are not doing enough. Now, when I say we are not doing enough, I'm not saying we are not putting in our skills, we are not putting in our efforts. We might be doing that, but our effort and our skills is in tandem with the resources that is being made used in our country by the leaders we entrust our resources into their hands. So we have to be able to do more.
Okay.
It all boils on the fact that when you wake up, you should be able to hold the people accountable, starting from even the churches. The people who are responsible of managing the little affairs from our own environment of work, those responsible for managing our affairs, how well do we question them? Because if you put in effort if I wake up and I'm doing my bit as a citizen, the little I get, I know I pay my tax, and yet I don't know where my tax is being used, yet I sit down, I don't ask questions, we will continue to suffer. So the African youth or the Ghanaian youth, this is the time for us to ask questions. We have social media. How well are we using it? How well are we telling our story? You understand?
Right.
So this is the time we should be able to speak out. Speaking out does not mean taking the microphone. There are various channels of speaking out, calling our leaders to order. And that is the right way forward.
Now, we saw our very own Nkrumah as one of the freedom fighters of Africa. Now, we saw that he fought very well to see a strong African unity. Looking
Yes.
at where we stand right now, what would you say we are? Are we doing better when it comes to what Nkrumah fought for?
Well, I would say we are doing what we can, but it is also still not enough. And on this note, I would congratulate the member states, particularly when it comes to do with the AFCFTA, that's the African Continental Free Trade Area. I think that is one of the perfect way to bridging the African continent. If we are able to move resources freely from one state to the other without challenges, I think it's one of the best things. You understand? But it is not enough. Look at the passports. If you look at our currency. Recently, or let's say 2 years ago, there was a discussion of having Africa, ECOWAS having one currency.
Right.
Ask yourself, nobody is talking about it anymore. No one is talking about it anymore. And look at the way the exchange rate is killing us. This could have been a right step for us to do something about it. But when we talk of the African integration, currency is also part.
Right.
Because we have the United States. Yes, every day we all wish to travel and enjoy. We will change our cedis, our naira, our shillings, and go and spend it out there at a higher exchange rate. So we have to do something about that. And I think if they're able to quicken the pace when it comes to the ECO or any other form of a unit currency that can help Africa, I think that would be best.
Okay, now moving on, let's talk about the aspiration of the African youth, and are there enough environments to realize the African youth dreams?
Yes, I think there is, and I say this because I think somewhere a few years ago, about 4-5 years ago, the African Union established the AU Youth Envoy, more or less like as a secretariat that is going to handle the youth affairs. The first person who handled the position, which is Miss Aya Chebi, whom I had the privilege of meeting and engaging on 1 or 2 projects, they actually did their best in incorporating the youth activities into the African Union. You understand? And this is something we need. And though Miss Aya is not there, currently we have a new AU Youth Envoy who is also championing that cause. And so I believe that this is the time where the youth must be looking at things from the apex. Let us look at what is happening up there, the African Union. What are the things they are doing that can benefit particularly the youth? You understand? And we must also understand for the fact that, Blessing, the people who are handling these positions were once youth.
Right.
So if they did not get it right, this is our time to get it right. So we must focus on know what they are doing, and try our best to make our voice heard right from the beginning.
Okay. Now, earlier on, we spoke about the theme for this year's celebration in terms of food security and nutrition. Now, when we come to Ghana, how would you assess our performance in agriculture and industrialization?
Blessing, I want to ask you one question. You bought something today.
Yes.
Definitely you ate.
Yes.
Was the price of the food you bought today the same as what you bought a month ago?
No.
You spend more, right?
Yes.
So that should tell you. I did. The youth listening to us also did. The prices of goods and services are skyrocketing. And if you can't feed yourself, how can you clothe yourself? You understand? So to answer that question straightforward, we are not doing well. And so the theme is a good theme, but it demands more action from all of us. You understand?
Right. Okay, so finally, in Ghana, we've seen a lot of youth activists pushing for a review and a change in our constitution. I don't know if I should classify you as one of those people that, do that. But then what's your view about a change or a reform in our constitution?
Yeah, you see, I am not a student of history. However, I've taken time to learn more about the Ghanaian history and what is happening across the continent. You see, the times we are in is different. All right.
Right.
And so calling for some form of changes in our constitution to suit the current trends of how things are being done in the world, I would say it is in the right direction.
Okay.
Do you understand?
Yes.
Because the way we used to do things back then is not the same way we used to do things today. That is why when you focus on other European countries, they are enacting laws, they are trying to repeal certain things that were not, which they think are not helping. You understand? So yes, I back the calls for those who are calling for some form of review. That also notwithstanding, our heritage can also not be forgotten. We must be able to do that whilst upholding our culture. Yes.
Okay. Now, before you go, a few words to the youth out there, especially when we talk about youth involvement in politics.
Okay. All right. So, if you are a youth listening to me on Focus this evening, you should know that you have a role to play. We all have a role to play. You do not necessarily have to be a politician before you can have something to do to help the country. So please, let's start doing our little from where we are now. Blessing, you are in the studio, right?
Yes.
You are doing your best in making sure people know what is going on. That is why I am on your show today.
Yes.
Similarly, all the youth listening to us this evening, we are all having something to do in one way or the other. And we must make it a conscious effort that whether we like it or yes, this is what we have. But the most important thing is that what are we doing to change what we think is not good? And until we take that step, we will always be complaining.
Right. Thank you very much, Prince. It was a pleasure having you here.
Yeah, Blessing, I want to say thank you to you and your team for having me. But I would want to leave one quote before, just permit me before we drop the line.
Right.
So I shared something not long ago, somewhere yesterday on the as we marked the day for AU, and it was a quote by hold on, I want to read that straightforward so I don't take anything out.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is a quote by Martin Luther King, whom I get much inspiration from. So he says that, and I want the youth listening to take this. It boils down on everything I've said. He says that the belief that God will do everything for man is as untenable as the belief that man can do everything for himself. It too is based on a lack of faith. We must learn that to expect God to do everything whilst we do nothing is not faith, but superstition. So this is what I'm leaving with our listeners today. God can do everything. It depends on our actions. So thank you very much for having me, and I'll always be available anytime.
Right. Thank you very much for your time too.
All right then. Enjoy your evening.
You too. So that was Prince Enima Pore, who is a Pan-African youth activist. And talking about the African Union Day, he says that we are doing well in terms of unity, but we can do better. We are still developing, but there is a long way for us to go. We can still do better. Talking about industrialization and agriculture, and the theme for this year's celebration, strengthening food security and nutrition in Africa. Well, he's saying that we still have a long way to go. Now, lastly, the youth have a role to play in pushing the country forward. We have to take a step to change things we do not like about our country. Now, later ended with a quote. I can't quote everything, but I sure can remember the fact that God can't do everything for us by Martin Luther King. We have to take a step and change things ourselves. Now, that's where we end today's edition of Technocrat on Focus 94.3 FM. My name is Blessing Doe. I was your host. I had Brakofi here on Facebook. But before we go, if you are on campus or around campus and you're hungry, you can just walk on to campus to cut. Just visit Craven's Pizza and Food and get anything you want, right from jollof rice, assorted jollof rice, gizzard jollof rice, fried rice, spaghetti, anything you want, and pizza of all kinds. Now you can call them on 059602888 or 05067711067. Again, 059602888 or 05067711067. Well, join us same time tomorrow at 5 p.m. to 5:30 p.m. Have a wonderful evening. If you joined us on Facebook, thank you very much. If you listen to us wherever you are, thank you very much. City FM takes over with the Eyewitness News.
Announced even by the Speaker that you'd be facing the committee. No official document has come to not even your office in Ghana communicating that to you officially?
No.
So this would then mean that you will not be appearing before the committee?
As you can see, I'm here in the United States.